And what's going on, everyone? It's Steve JMO again. It's almost 5:30. It's still the 29th of October, and it's still 2019. Um, just want to get back on because I was watching this video from Mark Sargent the other day, and I thought it was it's his most recent video. It's like an old documentary of the Richard E. Byrd, Admiral Byrd expeditions to Antarctica, and it's a pretty interesting film. So I'm gonna put it on. I've done live streams with Mark way back, so I hope he has no problem with me, using this. I'm not stealing it, saying it's my own or anything like that, but I'm just gonna throw it on, and we'll watch it and we'll have some comments afterwards. But for anyone who doesn't know, I'm a flat. I think the Earth is flat. I wouldn't say I'm a flat earther because that's just putting a label on me. But I think the Earth is 100% flat until proven otherwise. And Antarctica is it's the edge of civilization for all we know. That's a fact. And what goes beyond there, we don't know. And I'm gonna throw this on and check back in with you guys about 10 minutes or so. Yeah, then hold on, let me turn my camera off. There we go. And put this on. And this is good stuff. My wife says don't research flat Earth. It's the only issue I got with Mark. Mark's a little strange when it comes to all this shit, but he's good. His original flat Earth clues that got me going back in the day. So you can say what you want about him. All his interviews are good, but when he goes on ABC and shit like that, I got a little issue with that. But it is what it is. But we'll play this, and here we go.
Admiral Richard Byrd explored more uncharted land than any other man in history. He was a man of action, but he was a man of thought as well, an explorer and a scientist, an adventurer and a philosopher, a complete man, one of the men in history who had to lead the way.
On this expedition, we hope to fly across the South Pole into the mysterious land beyond to see what is there. To the cameramen who made this picture, I want to give full credit. They did not hesitate to risk their lives at their job. Now, the North Pole is the center of a deep ocean, whereas the South Pole is the center of a high plateau which averages 7,000 or 8,000 feet in altitude. There is no life whatever beyond the edge of the world. There are no Eskimo. It is too cold for human beings to live there permanently. When we left on this expedition, we were, to put it very mildly, extremely anxious to find out if it existed. Would we be able to find it? And that was the great question. We left on this expedition from the Navy Yard at Boston. Here is our supply ship, the Rupert, just a big unprotected iron ship of 8,000 tons. And here is our icebreaker, the Bear, which we took as a protection for the personnel of the Rupert, and also to use exploring in dangerous ice areas. We took with us this time 150 Eskimo dogs, and more than 14,000 different kinds of items for 2 years away from civilization, where there were no supply depots around the corner. Day followed day, week followed week, as we penetrated the great Pacific. We headed straight south, and here we have an ordinary unprotected iron ship, sailing in seas no ship had ever been in before since the world began. It wasn't that we were any better than our predecessors. We simply had a more open ice here. We bucked the ice till we were finally stopped by an impossible pack. Impossible, at least, for the Rupert. But we wanted to see what was beyond the horizon. That's what we came for. And for that purpose, we had another string to our bow, aviation. We retreated a few miles and managed to find an open lake in the ice field, so we proceeded to put the plane overboard. We had to execute this maneuver as rapidly as possible because we knew that under the influence of the wind and the tide, the fields would soon close in around the ship again. In fact, the ice is already beginning to close in. Our plan was to go south with our steamer until we were stopped by ice, and to take up the attack on the unknown with aviation.
What if I told you that I built an online real estate business? You'd probably
Now at last we're going to find out what was in the southern part of this mysterious part of the world. For after battling the bad weather, here we are 240 miles within it. We came to this strange phenomenon, ice islands. This was a strange and weird sea. Steaming through these ice islands was an eerie sensation. Here was the twilight of the gods, and we were curious to know what these somber giants were guarding. At long last, the dice fell our way, for the elements acted in our favor. The wind and the tide, which had closed the ice in around us, finally opened the pack so that we could break our way into more open sea. We had added nearly 500,000 square miles to the Pacific Ocean. And here is our journey's end. At length we sighted that great natural phenomenon, the ice barrier. I knew it would be taking a big chance, but it seemed the only way. As we started alongside the barrier with our ships, suddenly the edge shifted. Enough of ice falling to sink a fleet of ships. It seemed like a warning from Providence not to go alongside the barrier. We therefore had to unload from the bay ice. We had to put our tractors overboard with the engines running to safeguard the lives of the drivers as the ice was constantly breaking off. We had to get the tractors quickly away from the edge of the crumbling ice. We came within an ace of losing overboard our principal plane of exploration, the William Hawley. It was a critical moment. At times, as the ice broke, then all supplies would fall into the water. We kept a man on watch with a life preserver on line as a safeguard for the men working on the edge of the ice. We were working against time to finish unloading before the fall freeze-up, when the ships would have to return to civilization. You can see what a tough job we had to transport 400 tons of material through this area. The bay ice was constantly shifting and cracking, and pressure ridges were being formed as we worked by the irresistible force of the slowly moving ice cap. I have never seen men work so hard. With 24 hours of daylight, they could and often did work the clock around without stopping. We call this period the White Nightmare, and a nightmare it was. The hardest work of all was this man-hauling of sleds, which we had to do in order to get unloaded in Eskimo Huskies, still the backbone of polar exploration. They can go where no tractor could ever go. You can't do without them. The Rupert must go back to civilization because the bay would soon freeze and she couldn't stand the ice. Now the only person out of 150 men to get sick and who would have to go back on the Rupert was the doctor. At very great risk, I had to dispatch the bear northward to get another doctor, for I pledged myself not to risk men for a year on the ice without medical care. There would be anxiety over the bear. Suddenly, without warning, a storm hit us before we could get all of our food and other vital supplies stored away. And all hands had to work frantically throughout the storm to prevent the loss of food boxes under deep snowdrifts. The storm lasted for many hours. We found it chilly, working in the wind. And when it was over, there was a bit of digging to do. And here is the original commando.
The honor of leading this expedition belongs to Admiral Richard Byrd. It is a gratifying experience for this 58-year-old explorer, who in the past had to raise his own funds for exploration, and who now has the resources of the United States Navy at his command. In 1955, 2 years before his death, Admiral Richard Byrd departs on his 5th and last expedition. But it's not simply an unknown continent or a distant ocean that lures adventurers like Richard Byrd. As he put it, here is a door ajar through which one may escape from the noise and chaos of civilization into the solace and harmony of the cosmos, and for a moment be part of it.
Alright, so couple crazy things in this video. I was jotting some notes down. I did watch it yesterday, but I was just, re-jotting, mental notes down. But what exactly does Richard E. Byrd have to say about the Antarctic continent? Let's just replay that last 20 seconds real quick.
Of civilization into the solace and harmony of Richard Byrd. As he put it, here is a door ajar through which one may escape from the noise and chaos of civilization into the solace.
So he's saying Antarctica is a door ajar and an escape from civilization. So you can interpret that many ways. I'm going to go out on a limb and interpret it as it's a land of maybe portals, places to other dimensions, holes. I don't know, because let's just continue.
Solace and harmony of the cosmos, and for a moment be part of it.
So what's in the cosmos? The stars. So he's telling you that there's stars, beings, angelic beings, illuminaries that come in and out of reality, our dimension, through the veil in Antarctica. That's what he's secretly telling us there, I think. because the whole flat Earth thing. I'm a flat earther, but I wouldn't say I'm a hollow earther because the concave Earth is ridiculous. But I think that there is much depth to this flat Earth. It's not a flat disc. I think it's more of a yo-yo, one of them gyro type deals where. Let me show you exactly what I think this goddamn place is. Let's see. See if this freaking computer wants to work today. Let's see what we got. If I could remember, which one it was too, that would immensely help. Yeah, not getting too much from there. Flat. Let's see if that's it. No, but well, I mean, you can't go without looking at this. That's the ice wall. This he took off from Boston, went down here, so he was in the. This is what Antarctica is, people. The Earth is not a globe. Water does not bend. Water is flat. If 80, 70, whatever percent of the world is water, water will always find its level. Therefore, the Earth is flat. But we're beyond that. I'm on Antarctica right now because Admiral Byrd kept going down to Antarctica for what? He went down 5 times because Operation High Jump was his fifth and final uh, venture down there, which they got smoked in. It was supposed to be a 2-year, 3-year mission. They came back in less than 6 months. So what exactly happened down there? But let me get this out of here. So it ain't that. It could be 803. I just name stuff, random stuff. Oh, that's a movie. I should have seen that. No, that ain't it. Oh man, one of these is like a really good representation of where we live, so bear with me. That's a movie. That's a movie. Oh, this is gonna get me freaking pissed off. I just clicked on that. That's another one. Nice. Oh, I'm about to lose my stuff here, dude. I swear to God I am. Nope. There we go. About fucking time. So, this is what I think we live on. Something very similar to this. And it shows here that you can get down to Hades through mountains, through mountain ranges. And it looks like you can get there from other circumferences from around the world, So who's to say that in all of the snow-covered mountain ranges, all the ice mountain ranges, all of the highest actual mountains on Earth, who's to say that there's not portals down there that lead down to Tartarus, down to Hades, and down here is the word chaos. So whatever's down there is really, really demonic because chaos is the name of a demonic being. So I'll just, be careful of what we say and how we say it because you could be manifesting something and not even knowing it, which is crazy. So, that being said, you got Admiral Byrd down there, who also was a 33rd degree Freemason, but yeah, I guess we just take his word, but yeah, interesting documentary. He's down in Antarctica, there's no doubt about it. What he says is down there, you can take that multiple ways, as a Freemason would put it, hides the truth within the lie. It is what it is. So you got the ice wall in the video, for miles and miles as we saw. Let me see if I can get back just on that one frame they showed, because one of them was pretty ridiculous. And like the ice walls he was showing. Like ice walls. Ice wall. Look at that, man. Like, look at that. Ice wall as far as the eye can see. Ice walls. And when they got close to them, what started happening? The ice started falling off. It was like something knew they were down there. I'm not saying the Earth is like living like the whole Mother Earth thing, but you look into flat Earth and you look into the moon, the tides, and all this stuff, and how the moon has no zero effect on the tides. So what's making the tides go in and out? And there are certain scriptures that do support maybe the Earth is it's like a being like us that takes a breath every day, and the tide goes up when it inhales and it exhales and the tide goes back down. Or yeah, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I'm not saying this is any of that's fact, but it is what it is. Oh, we got some people in the chat. What's going on? Thanks for all the likes. I saw that. But you got the ice wall that's just going on for miles and miles, and it like they said, it was getting worse when they got there. There was a storm. That's also showing a lot of fear porn, but in the end, I think it was an omen of some greater force, whether it been good or bad, because I think there's something dark in Antarctica, just based upon the facts that the Nazis went down there. They and they had bases down there in the 20s, the 30s, 40s. When they surrendered at the end of World War II, there's over 200 submarines that were never found from the Nazi regime. And why wouldn't they have gone down to Antarctica? Because we did Operation High Jump secretly to go flush them all out, and the Americans got their butts kicked by not Nazis, but by crafts that Richard Byrd was quoted as saying could travel pole to pole in minutes. So there's something really demonic and paranormal going on in Antarctica, and I think that God, the Creator, put Antarctica the way that it is just so we can't go mess around with shit like that. But if we have free will, if you want to go mess around with shit like that, that's where it is, dude. Like, if you got government funding and clears from the Antarctic Treaty, like why would there be an Antarctic Treaty for us? They're protecting something down there, like, oh, it's to protect the wildlife, the natural whatever. Well, there's nothing that lives down there, so you can't even get it wrong. And plus, it's negative 200 degrees, so you can't even have civilization down there. Why can't we go down to Antarctica? Because that's the edge of civilization, I think. And that brings in the whole dome effect, because Richard Byrd went out on the ice for miles and miles and miles before, and it's supposed that he found land out there. So, you know what I'm saying? This could go either way. And with Byrd, you got to take what you can take, and you throw out the rest, because like I said, he's a 33rd degree Freemason. He was in the U.S. Navy for how many years? And, I think he was because they had all the Nazis doing all these crazy things in Antarctica and up north, and America had to retaliate somehow, so they started throwing this guy on all these missions. And 2 years after he comes back from Operation High Jump, 1 year after the Antarctic Treaty gets put into place, he ends up dying at age like 54 or 56 or something ridiculous. So he knew too much, and they had to off him because they didn't want something like, let's say a Werner von Braun incident, but he was well after the fact. And another thing with the whole Nazi thing, Nazis, they're working at NASA. Werner von Braun was one of the lead scientists at NASA. One of the founding ones, worked with Aleister Crowley, I can't remember any of the other names right now. I'm just long day at work, pretty shot, but so you have that whole connection. So I think it's pretty obvious that the Nazis have bases down there, because they're talking to some sort of portal portal beings or something, because you have Richard Byrd saying that Antarctica is an escape from reality, and it's like you're lost in the cosmos. And, stars, people say stars are angels, which I firmly believe, but there's also fallen angels, and you have the wandering stars, and now you got stars that are blinking red, white, blue, and green outside. So, what exactly were they talking to down there? Or are they still talking to down there? Because there's no more Nazi versus, America type deal. It's all one. They brought it together with NASA. NA for Nazi, and then, I don't know what N for. Maybe that's like the American, because the Nazis found something, the Americans confirmed it, and they locked it down. What did they find? I'm not too sure, but you gotta watch. There's this dude named Justin Fall. He has man, I can't remember the freaking name of the. Let me go look it up real quick. He's got a good little documentary, book, movie, whatever you want to call it, type deal. Fourth Watch is his radio show. What is that? The Hollow Earth Chronicles. So, and like, it's not even so. The Hollow Earth Chronicles by Justin Fall. That's a good thing to get into to further understand what the Nazis were going after, because they were going after a race of beings that were talked about in the Bible. Nephilim beings, tall hybrid human beings, perfect, quote unquote, perfect beings. But we're the perfect beings, so that's a deception right there. We're all God's special gift, and they want to hide that from us. And there's a lot more they want to hide from us too, because they don't want us regular humans coming into contact with these beings down in Antarctica. But that's just my opinion on the fact. So I'm gonna get off, and what we got in the chat here? Got some dudes going back at it. Yeah, it is at 90 degrees south. Blah blah blah. Yeah, absolutely. Space race to cover it up, and because Germany fell out of it, so they had to throw fucking someone in the mix to compete with America, and Russia stepped right up, and they did a really good job at portraying the lie. But it is what it is. Shout out all you guys in the chat. I want to shout out a couple new subscribers today. I don't know who they were, but usually it sends me an email, but a couple people did, and we're back up a couple. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the views, guys. I'm getting out of here for a little while. I might get back on later. Like I said, I ain't got shit to do. It's still pretty early, so we'll see what it is. But, the Earth is flat. Antarctica is the edge. They're hiding it from us. They're hiding all the truth. So do what you can to stay awake. Keep researching. Keep looking stuff up. Like, share, subscribe, not everything, but, everything that's good. And it is what it is. But I'm getting out of here. You guys have a good night. Take care.